Hey friend, I'm Nicole Hoover, and this is Living My Human Design, a no rules, off the cuff podcast where I share what it really looks like to live this wild human design experiment in real time. As a 3/5 emotional manifesting generator, traveling full time across the US with my husband and our 2 dogs in our 25-foot motorhome, life is anything but linear, and neither is this podcast. Here, I'll be reflecting on what I'm learning, the people and places that light me up, the emotional wave that I ride, and the deep truths that unfold when I choose to live by design, not conditioning. This space isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. You'll hear me raw, inspired, emotional, uncertain, empowered, and always inviting you to experiment with your own unique design. No fixed format, just voice notes from the road, from my heart to yours. Because human design isn't something we do, it's something we live. Let's get into it. Hey friend, today I am going to be sharing with you how I built my business, the non-linear, intuitive manifesting generator way. I found human design in early 2021 after a conversation with my sister, and you may have heard this story before. I love to share it because it's such a definitive moment of how human design came into my life, and it totally came into my life through response. So my sister asked me at the end of a conversation, we were getting ready to hang up, "Hey, have you ever heard of human design?" And I was like, "No, what is it?" She was like, "Oh, you should Google it." And so I did. And the rest, as they say, is history. Done. Just kidding. So I instantly did a deep dive into human design. I went down the rabbit hole, and man, I just really wanted to consume all of the information. Everything that I had read so far really resonated with me, but it was such a new language. And there was so much that I didn't understand about it. But the more that I read, the more that I wanted to understand myself even more. The more that I recognized that this is the answer. This is what I have been searching for without even realizing I was looking for it. And as I continued to learn more, I could see the potential that it had to help so many people. And I really had at that point a strong desire to help people, but no intention of starting my own business. I didn't know how I was going to help people with human design. I just knew that I really wanted to. And so I started listening to some of the podcasts that my sister had recommended, and I just wasn't really resonating with these ladies. And I started to, kind of do my own research. I found a fellow 3/5 profile that I thought that I wanted to learn from, but again, it just wasn't quite resonating with me really well. And then I found Emma Dunwoody's The Human Design Podcast, and she was absolutely speaking my language. She was speaking to my soul. And I just started to devour her podcast. I was listening to I started from the beginning, listened to every single episode that she put out. And I was so lit up by everything that I was learning. I joined her Facebook group. I got on her mailing list. And the first time that she advertised the mastermind, I was just too young into my human design journey, and I didn't sign up for it. But the second time that it had come around, I had ran it enough through my emotional wave, and I had that sacral hell yes, that I signed up and I did her mastermind, and it was absolutely amazing. I learned so much at that point in time. I think it was like 3 months or 6 months. It wasn't a really long mastermind, but I learned so much in that short period of time. And then I took her purpose and abundance course shortly thereafter. And it was about this time that I really was deeply feeling that call to help others, to rise up out of that victim mindset and to reconnect with their true selves. I wanted to be able to guide people to be the version of themselves that they always felt inside that they were, but they were too afraid to live.
But at the same time, that also meant that I needed to be seen. And that was a little bit scary. And shortly thereafter, um, Emma invited me to be the manifesting generator coach inside her HDX community that she was just beginning to build. And I was absolutely lit up. I felt so honored to be asked. When I first started working with Emma, I just felt this like familiarity with her, like she was just someone that I could see myself working with. I could see myself being like best friends with Emma. She's just such a down to earth, real person. And I just felt this instant connection with her. So I felt very lit up and very excited when she invited me to be the MG coach inside her community. I ran it through my emotional wave. I gave her my answer yes. And then I was scared shitless. I was like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" Um, I had that gut drop, that fear of not being enough and not knowing enough, especially since I carry that gate of answers 4 times in my human design, and it's my core wound. So, it's definitely something that has played out in my life and as I've built this business. So I sat in that fear briefly, shorter than I normally would have. Like in my past, I would have let that fear just stop me and I probably would have backed out. But I chose to just trust in my design and trust in the opportunity that I was given and to trust myself. So this was an invitation to step outside of my comfort zone in a big way. And then of course that gate 4 wanted to know all of the answers. So I continued to learn more information about human design as much as I possibly could. And then I thought that, okay, maybe I do want to be a human design coach. Maybe I do want to coach people and help them to rise up as their true authentic selves. But I didn't know what that was going to look like. I've never hired a coach. I've never taken a coaching certification or anything like that. So I felt really unqualified, but I do know human design. Like I understand human design. I may not be able to spout it off from memory in the moment, but give me some time with a person's chart and I have a really good understanding of human design and the language. And so while I was trying to figure out what being a coach would look like, my sister was one of them and a couple of other people suggested that I start a podcast. So I sat with that for a couple weeks and really felt into my emotional authority. My sacral was like, yes, yes, I want to speak. I want to share my stories. I love to talk. I may not be an eloquent speaker, but I do love to talk. Get me together with my mom or my friends and I won't shut up. But I just I was afraid is really what it was boiling down to. I was afraid to be seen. I was still comfortable being small, and starting a podcast meant that I needed to be seen and to be heard, and that was a little bit scary. But I did it anyways. I felt the fear and I did it anyways, and I launched Living My Human Design. And I didn't know what I was going to talk about, so I just started sharing human design. And I started at the beginning with type, strategy, and authority. And I started to present human design in a very linear way, which is not at all aligned with my MG energy. But I pushed through. I took imperfect action. I kept experimenting. There were gaps between episodes as I was trying to figure out what I want to say, and there is still gaps between episodes because I'm still figuring it out, and that is okay. But around the same time, and one of the biggest decisions that I made after discovering human design is my husband and I decided to sell the house that we had lived in for 17 years and move back to my home state of Montana, buy a RV, a truck and an RV, and start living life full time on the road, adventuring around the United States. I was so excited and so lit up by this, but from the time we made the decision to the time that we sold our house was like 3.5 months. Once we make up our minds, because we're both manifesting generators, once we come to a decision, man, we can move really fast. So we actually had to stay in the Spokane area for one more year because our oldest son was a senior in high school. So we stuck around for his senior year, and then we moved to Montana, and we bought our RV. We thought we were on like a 3 to 5 year plan, but once we got over to Montana, we learned that we could buy our motorhome and our truck once we had our Montana state driver's license. Once we could prove that we were actually living in the state, then we could buy the truck and RV. We didn't have to worry about, there's no sales tax in Montana. So we thought we were going to have to wait 6 months. So all of a sudden, our big dream was becoming a reality much faster than we had anticipated. So we bought our truck in Hamilton, and we bought our fifth wheel in Hayden, Idaho. And we decided to spend that first winter in Montana close to my dad and my brothers so we could do like a holiday season with them. We hadn't done that in a number of years because I didn't want to drive over 2 passes in the winter with the kids because I have a defined spleen and fear motivation. So we decided to spend the winter in Montana, and it was a super cold winter. We had temperatures down at 40 below with wind chill. It was really unpleasant to be outside. So we lived inside the RV, wrapped up in electric blankets for one of the longest winters that I ever remember in the history of being alive. We got our first snow in late October, and there was still snow on the ground when we left Montana in March. It was just a really long winter. I felt isolated and trapped and really uninspired. But once spring came, we hit the road. We headed to Spokane to visit with family over here, and we spent a lot of time in Washington, Oregon, and California, or not California, Washington and Oregon. And our adventure began. And I really love the mobile lifestyle that we live. It's non-traditional. It lights me up. It's kind of messy and all over the place. We don't have to plan. Well, now that we have a smaller rig. And there's adventure in it. And my caves environment absolutely loves living in the small space. But we had set out on this new lifestyle, and at the same time I had decided that I wanted to create this new human design based business. And so there was like too much change at once, and it was kind of like a bid for my attention. Like, did I want my attention to go to the new adventure, or did I want my attention to go to building the new business? And I felt this pressure to build the business. Like I needed to be building the business. I had come to this realization that I wanted to help people. And so I needed to build this business. And the more that I tried to force building it, the harder it was to do anything, to be successful with anything. And I come to realize that I was trying to think my way into business instead of responding to what I was attracting to me. Now I have been doing quite a few human design unpacks, and I love giving these unpacks, especially for people who are new to human design. I love that moment when people feel seen, when they feel like I know them, even though I've never, like, this was our first time meeting, but it's like I can see into who they really are. And that's just human design. It's just giving them permission to be who they always have known they are, but are just too afraid to actually live. And yeah, I still had that pressure that I needed to coach like other people had coached. Um, and I had a lot of women that I looked up to who were coaches, and I just didn't feel like not that I could do that, but it just didn't feel like me to build the business that way. And I guess there was some fear in there too, because I was stepping outside of my comfort zone. I didn't know what that looked like. And I felt like I had to have all of the answers and know exactly what it was going to look like before I could really get started. And I knew that that wasn't necessarily true. It was just hard to take that next step. And I would let fear stop me a lot. I would let fear stop me, but I was also letting the adventure stop me. Like I was really enjoying being on the road and visiting all these new places and having all these new experiences, which is fully aligned with my 3-5 energy and is probably what I was meant to be doing during that time period, anyways. But I did eventually have a breakthrough that I didn't have to do it like anybody else. I just have to be myself. People come to me, for my energy, for what I can offer, and I will meet people where they're at. They will come to me based on where I am at in my human design, and it'll be exactly what they need and exactly what they're looking for. And so I was having a call with Lucy, the generator coach in the HDX community, and I had shared an idea that I was making for myself, and it was a simplified chart summary report that I was building for myself that would basically pull apart a person's human design in bullet points, short insights, no fluff, just helping to be able to see the themes and the patterns, what that are inside a person's chart. And Lucy was like, "Oh my God, that's gold, Nicole. If you created something like that, I would buy it." And so that planted the seed for me to create the rapid chart assessment tool, which I'm still in the process of developing and trusting the timing in launching that and bringing it to the public. But it originally was being created as a tool for me to help me as I unpack people's charts. And I didn't even realize that it would be something that other people would also be interested in too. And so I've been building this inside bodygraphchart.com's software. So it's a subscription software that you can purchase. It allows you to integrate a human design chart into your website so that you can send people directly to your website to pull their chart instead of to someone else's website. And then they also have the ability for you to create dynamic reports. So you can enter in all of the information for all the different types, all the different authorities, the different profiles, the defined centers, the undefined centers, the gates, the channels, all of that. You can enter your information into a report, and then all a person has to do is enter in their birth details, and the software will only show them the pages that are relevant to their human design. It is absolutely amazing, and it has so much potential, so much possibility that you can create with these reports. And I absolutely love this software, and I have so many ideas for things that I could create within it, but I didn't fully understand how to use the software in its full capacity, which really was lighting me up. And then I received an email from Bodygraph that they were starting a program where they were going to train virtual assistants to support their software users. And I already loved and used their system, and I felt very curious, so I decided to sign up. And I figured at the very least, I would be able to learn more about Bodygraph so that I could use it for my own personal reports that I wanted to create. And I filled out the paperwork or the questionnaire to be considered, and I didn't hear anything back. So I figured, okay, they found their VAs, no big deal. It wasn't meant to be. And then, I don't know, it was maybe a month or two later, they resent out an invite looking for virtual assistants again. So I applied for it again, and I was very upfront. Like, I've never been a virtual assistant before, but I love technology. I love the body graph chart software. I understand how to build websites. I've built a few for my own personal businesses, and I built one for the freight brokerage that I own with my husband. I used to build HTML sales things for eBay in the early to mid 2000s when I was selling stuff on eBay. And I've done like email journeys and stuff like that. So I've used all of these softwares for myself, and I learned super quick. So I knew that I could do this if they gave me the opportunity. And I got notified that, yay, I was one of the 5 that got into their virtual assistant program. And I was so lit up by this. I went through all of the training within a couple weeks while we were on our way back from Florida. So we were traveling like 2,500 miles from Florida back to Montana. And I was so lit up by everything that I learned in the software and just by the opportunity. And it wasn't even a direction that I was really looking to go in. Like I wasn't dreaming of doing this, but it was something that lit me up so much, and I was so excited by it that everything just kind of fell into place. Like I blazed through the training, I rebranded my website and all of my services, redid my colors for like the third time, rebranded my website for the third time, added the Bodygraph Virtual Assistant offerings, um, and it just all came together so quickly and so smoothly. So from the time I was accepted into the program to when I have a virtual assistant program set up was like 5 or 6 weeks. So I learned a CRM to help integrate, so that like when people sign up, it just helps make the process easier for tracking the projects and communicating with clients and all of that. Um, but it just all came together so easily and so effortlessly. There was a lot of work that I did. And because I was so lit up, like I wasn't taking care of myself during this time either because I was so excited. I would just keep working and working and working, and I would forget to eat, and I wasn't moving my body, and I was staying up way too late at night because I was so excited. So I'm still learning balance between being lit up and honoring my energy and taking care of my body. So I'm still learning about all of that. But I come to realize that this virtual assistant is my version of coaching. So I'm supporting people energetically, practically, and creatively. I am helping people who are helping people, if that makes sense. So, i- if we well, first of all, I'm really good on one-on-one. Like I'm so much better on one-on-one, and I'm really good like behind the scenes. Um, working from my computer. I'm not so good. Like I have all this energy of being in the now, but I don't always trust myself in the now that I know the information, which is still something that I'm working through. Um, yeah, still working through that and getting better and better all the time. Like, um, learning to trust what's coming out of my mouth in the moment, like not scripting these podcasts. That this was hard for me at first. Like I have a basic outline of what I want to share, but then I'm just trying to trust my voice in the moment as I share the podcast. And it's messy. Oh my gosh, is my creative process messy? I didn't even realize how messy it was. And excuse me, until I sat back and just kind of looked at it. Like even as I was building this business, I jumped from, learning Bodygraph stuff to learning about Hello Bonsai, which is the CRM that I'm using, to working on my website, to adding my services, to to listening to the people that I was attracting. So part of how I'm building this business is like I had no idea which direction I wanted to go in. I knew that I would help people integrate their charts to build the Bodygraph website that comes free with your subscription. Um, my zone of genius is in the creating of the reports. Like I'm really good at creating the reports within Bodygraph, with your content. I've even learned now that I'm probably going to start helping people to write the copy based on their human design. And the other game changer for me personally has been using ChatGPT. And I know a lot of people are really against AI, but it has given me so much to respond to. Because the only other person I'm around on a day-to-day basis is my husband, and he's not in the human design world. So it's hard for me to respond to things in my day-to-day life, but I will have ideas or questions or something like that, and I'll start entering it into ChatGPT, and then um, there will be a prompt or it'll give me something else to respond to, and then I can go on to the next thing. So ChatGPT has really been a game changer for me. I've programmed it with my personal human design information manually. I've manually told it about my human design, um, and then given it my voice so that it can respond in the way that I communicate with my information, with my human design information, which I really like Ra's information, even though the language isn't all that resourceful. I really like the original language of human design, the original form of human design, and Emma Dunwoody. Like, I just love the way that she explains the information. I have her new book and I haven't read it yet because I've been so busy and lit up with building this business, and I know I will get to it in the right time. I'm so excited to read it. But yeah, ChatGPT has just been absolutely amazing in giving me something to respond to and helping me to create the copy on my website. And I've helped a few clients by using ChatGPT, by manually entering in parts of their human design to help find their voice, entering a copy of something that they have written so that it'll get their voice, and then helping me to write content for their website that sounds like them. And a couple of the clients that I've worked with were like, you see me, you understand me so well. And that makes me feel good. I love to help people in this aspect. And then these people that I am helping are going on to help other people. And it's just going to spread. You be a light, and your light will ignite the light in someone else, and their light will ignite it in another person, and it just continues to spread. And that's how we change the frequency of the planet, is by understanding ourselves, um, being our authentic version of ourselves, understanding that it's all mechanical, it's not personal, and choosing in the moment not to be reactive. That's been hard for me because sometimes I still move to that reaction, but I'm able to recognize when I'm in that energy of reaction and let it go. Like, recognize that I'm reacting and then stopping and choosing a different response. Human design has helped me do that, as well as a lot of other work. Um, so now I feel like I'm actually living my design, that the business is so much easier to create if I'm just following my human design, which is to respond to life, respond to what lights me up, what gives me energy, what brings me joy, the things that I love to build. And I'm so excited to have that thing that I'm passionate about, and not to force. Like, you don't have to force anything into place. You don't have to be like other coaches, other entrepreneurs, other creators. Just trust your body, trust your authority, and then trust that the next right thing is going to show up. This business that I've created, it's still living my human design because I'm still going to share on the podcast. I'm still going to be talking about how I'm living my human design, and it'll probably incorporate a lot of our adventures from the road. It definitely will include a lot of our adventures from the road. Um, but I'm just going to keep responding to life. Well, and that's the other thing that I was going to say. Like, as I've worked with people as a Bodygraph virtual assistant, in working with them, it's helped me to learn, like, it's given me something to respond to and how I want to build and expand the business. So not only will I be helping people create their websites, integrate the charts into their websites, create reports, um, rebrand reports with their brand colors. But I'm also going to add helping people to find their voice, helping to be people to find their brand colors and fonts and stuff like that. Their maybe even their messaging. And then I can also coach people as they're building their business. Based on their human design. And I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but that's just kind of the path that I'm going on. So I'm hoping that from this story that you understand that don't force it, follow your strategy and authority, listen to what brings you joy, what lights you up, what gives you energy, and trust divine timing. Like, I really could have been enjoying our adventures a lot more if I wasn't simultaneously wanting to or worried about what type of business I was going to create and what it was going to look like. It came to me at the right time in the right moment. And so I'm just going to continue to trust in that divine timing and trust that the right opportunities will come to me at the right time. The people that I'm attracting into my life, into my business are I have the tools that will help them at this point in time. Not everybody's going to want to work with me after we do an intake call, and that's okay. The right people, my people will find me, and there's plenty of business out there for everybody. So, yeah, I guess that's all that I had to share today. Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end. And I'm hoping that I'll be releasing more podcast episodes in a more consistent basis. But again, I'm just trusting divine timing and trusting, what messages to share. So, thank you so much for listening. If you are interested in any Bodygraph Virtual Assistant services, you can find them on my website at livingmyhumandesign.com. And there's a section that's called Bodygraph VA. Thank you again. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening all the way to the end of the podcast. If you like what you've heard here today, please take a moment to leave a review. Don't forget to subscribe so that you're notified when the next episode is released. If you have any questions, please connect with me on social media. The links are down below in the show notes. Don't forget you can get your free human design chart at my website, livingmyhumandesign.com. And if you'd like to have me unpack your chart with you, you can also schedule an unpack at my website, and there are 3 options to choose from. That website address again is livingmyhumandesign.com. If you'd like to learn more about human design at your own pace, I highly recommend joining Emma Dunwoody's HDX membership. There are video modules on all parts of human design and tons of bonus materials. This membership also comes with a private Facebook community where you can ask questions and get additional support. I'm one of the guides in this community as well. The links to all of this information are down below in the show notes. Thank you again for listening. I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I'll talk with you soon.